it just exploded on Twitter. You know, the NHL was posting about it, and Spit and Chicklets, and Kevin Weeks talked about it.
Hockey has gone through many evolutions from the forward pass to the trapezoid, but nothing like, oops, all goalies. The mad genius behind a 5-on-5 game of all goalies, in full gear, by the way. Kyle Sorenson joins us. Kyle, you're a goalie and a coach yourself in Western Washington. How did you turn this crazy idea you had into what we saw at the Seattle Kraken practice facility?
You know, it was just one of those things that a bunch of friends thought it'd be fun to do after I had organized it. Our first one was up in Bellingham. I didn't really think we'd get more than 20 goalies to show up, but we ended up getting about 30, 32 goalies in Bellingham. And then after we, you know, Kate Shefty from the Seattle Times had heard about it through a friend somehow. And so she reached out to me, and I kind of was surprised that the media was reaching out to me before the Bellingham game. But yeah, afterwards, it just exploded on Twitter. You know, the NHL was posting about it, and Spit and Chicklets, and Kevin Weeks talked about it. I saw Hank talked about it during a during a Rangers game, which was just unreal. So I don't know. It really wasn't like that crazy of an idea. We've done it before, like as kids, and goalie camps will do it, but organizing it with referees and setting up rules, that's a great video right there with the guy crashed into the net. That was a great one. But, you know, getting the refs involved, I think, is kind of what separated us from some of the other games. Making sure we didn't have any players on the ice. I know a lot of people really wanted to see a player in net, but this was really about celebrating goalies. Also, like that guy number 43 you see in the video.
He was the best player out there.
Yeah, he can rip a puck with a goalie stick. There's no question. If there was a player in net and Frankie was shooting the puck, he'd hurt somebody. So having players in the net is just not something I want, to be honest with you.
The only mistake you made was Frank should have been wearing the hot dog outfit.
Yeah, he's a character. If you haven't had a chance to talk with Frankie, he's a character. He's probably one of my favorite goalies I've ever met.
Where do all these goalies come from, and how did you recruit them?
A lot of them come from just the Seattle area. So a lot of us play in what's called the Kraken Hockey League, which is right there out of KCI, but we play between Linwood, Olympic View, and then other ones came from Bellingham. One of the guys that had all the GoPros and set up all the videos, his name's Peter. He was a Bellingham local. He's been a big part of it. We had some people come from Tacoma. I think we had a guy come from Vancouver, Washington. I know another goalie from Alaska had tried to fly in. I don't know if he actually made it or not, just because I did all this myself. So trying to make sure I met all 65 or 64 goalies that showed up. I would be the 65th one. It was a little hard.
Yeah. I just want to mention, I like this picture because there's no way a goal is getting through. You have a right-handed catcher, and behind him you have a left-handed catcher, and behind him or her you have another right-handed catcher. So this is what teams have dreamed of, being able to have a 3-goalie stack.
Yeah, we always like to joke about, if you can pull a goalie and put another skater on, how come you can't pull a skater and put a second goalie
on? Back in the day, Gary Smith, who was a goalie, used to carry the puck over the red line, so they put in a rule so you couldn't do that. They put in the trapezoid to foil Martin Brodeur. The Kraken have a goalie, Joey Decord, who is a wizard in his own right at stick handling. So yeah. I have to believe that this is fulfilling a fantasy that most goalies have.
I think so. And I asked everybody, you know, some recommendations. I sent out a survey to all the goalies. I kind of asked, like, what would you like to see in the next one? And one of the big things that people asked was maybe instead of doing a shootout at the end, we do some sort of clinic at the beginning or at the end, and guys like Frankie, who are really good at shooting, teach some of these other goalies how to stick handle and how to play the puck, because it's fun. It is a lot of fun to blast the puck with a goalie stick and actually, hit the top shelf with it. It's awesome. So I think we might incorporate that next time and maybe do some skills competitions with shooting the puck.
There are, believe it or not, some rules about who can play, and the fact that in a game of all goalies, no one is actually allowed to 10 goal. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so we made the rule where during run of play, you can't actually be in the crease at all. And if you are in the crease, you're going to get a warning. The refs will blow the play dead. Then after that, if you're a repeat offender, we would do penalty shots. So like that one. And so how the penalty shots worked, if you used your glove and blocker and goalie stick and you scored a goal, you would get 2 points. So you'd get 2 goals. You could forego your goalie stick and blocker and glove and switch to a player stick and a player gloves, but you'd only get 1. I don't think any goalies actually did that. At the original event, the goalies did switch to it because nobody was making penalty shots. So I was pretty happy to see nobody switch to it this time. I actually my only goal was a penalty shot with my goalie stick, so I was pretty happy about that.
This is not a no contact game. In fact, there was one scene at KCI that put me in mind of the Colorado-Detroit brawls of the 1990s when Patrick Waugh would take on Mike Vernon and Chris Osgood.
Yeah, I never told anybody it was no contact. I said, you guys can do what you want, just don't hurt each other.
But hey, what kind of sportsmanship is this? How can you condone this appalling lack of sportsmanship?
We're goalies, so they just get away with whatever they want when the refs aren't looking.
And then you decided to have a rugby scrum at one point.
I did not see that. That is great. That's the first time I'm seeing that.
But when you've got some goalies who are actually gorillas, I guess that's to be expected.
So he was worried because I had put him on the dark team. He came and found me before the game, and he's like, hey, I have a muscle suit that's kind of light colored. Can I still wear it? I was like, yeah, buddy, you can still wear whatever you brought. It's fine.
All kidding aside, we already saw one great play, that sliding save. There were some very athletic plays in this game. We're going to show a couple of them, both scores and saves. Look at that one. I mean,
oh, yeah, that was great. Jesse thought he scored there, too. He put his hand up to celebrate.
Both in terms of scores and saves made, for anyone who hasn't strapped on the pads, give us an idea of just how difficult this is.
If you've grown up skating, you've played goalie a long time, skating with your pads really isn't that hard, right? We're used to it. It's actually kind of fun to get out there and do player drills in your pads. Some of these goalies are new, right? They've only been a goalie for a couple months, or they're even just new to skating in general. So you can see just the kind of struggle they have moving long distance in pads. But if you've worn them a while, it's not bad. You're kind of used to it. I actually, when I skate out and play in my player gear, I feel really light, but I know I'm not going as fast as I think
I am. Hockey games these days have all sorts of intermission entertainment. Again, Oops All Goalies is in the vanguard with what I can only describe as an homage to the sea lions on the pier at Fisherman's Wharf in San Francisco.
That is a great description. So it's really funny. Both rinks, I think, ended up doing that, but during intermission, I gave everybody 5 minutes, and the amount of goalies that just laid down with either their backs on the ice or their bellies on the ice was just priceless.
You hadn't told them how easy it is to skate up and down for 60 minutes with goalie gear on.
Yeah, and the other recommendation people said was this one was longer than our original. Our original one we did runtime. This one I did stop clock. By the third period, I had had enough people between both sheets of ice ask me to run the clock that we ran the clock the third period.
Any embarrassment that in a game of all goalies, the final score was 16-14?
No, and the other sheet I believe was 16-12 or 18-12. And no, I wish it was higher. You know, goalies don't get to score goals, so and then no goalie in the net. Just put them in as much as you want. I had some people ask like, oh, maybe we shouldn't allow half court shots. No, just let them score. Let them have fun. Let them hear the buzzer. It's all in good fun.
I think one of the great things about these events for the participants is the camaraderie that goalies get to share, but don't normally get to experience because they spend all game 180 feet from each other.
Yeah, that's a big thing for me. All these goalies are now friends and connected. A lot of these goalies have subbed for each other's teams at this point. One of the guys, Sean Vaca, who's a dear friend of mine, he's told me multiple times that before he did the original goalie event, he didn't have any real goalie friends. Like he hung out with his hockey team and that's it. And now he can show up to the rink and these guys are saying hi to him. People recognize each other. It's just so great. And we got custom jerseys and stuff. So now all these guys get to see each other wearing their jerseys, guys and girls out seeing each other's jerseys. A lot of us do drop-ins kind of together, but maybe don't get to talk to each other. And so now you'll be like, oh, hey, we were at the goalie game together. So then that big group hug was just, not really intentional. One goalie hugged me and another goalie skated over. And I was like, guys, I can't breathe. This is too much hugging.
I mean, I've seen a lot of hockey hugs, but this one, that might have been the best one.
Yeah, that was probably the best hug I've ever
had. And you live to tell about it.
Yeah, barely. It was pretty tight in there and smelly.
You mentioned that you've gotten more blow up on social media than you ever imagined. Tell me more about that.
Yeah, it's just been wild. Obviously, the original one getting on NHL Network and the other places was super cool, and just having media like you guys reach out to me, different podcasts, people sending me clips of podcasts I've never even heard of talking about it, fan pages or different NHL teams sharing the video because their social media people think it's cool. I've had teachers from when I was a little kid reach out to me on Facebook. What I do for work is I sell advertisements to car dealerships, and I've gone to car dealerships and they're like, hey, I saw you on TV. And I'm just like, I know, it's kind of weird. So it's cool. It's not really why we did it originally, but all the love and support for goalies is awesome. And the article the other day from Barstool probably blew me away the most, talking about it's the first time something has changed the game for goalies since Martin Brodeur and Patrick Waugh. And that's just mind-blowing to be mentioned with the likes of those guys. Just unreal.
What's next for all goalies?
We have a couple ideas. I don't want to tease too much just because one's pretty special, I think, for the goalies. The next one that I want to do would be like a 2.5 version. It'd be small, but very, very special. So keep an eye out, but we will definitely do a bigger one. I think that the third Oops All Goalies, like the third official one, will be back at the Kraken Iceplex. I'm sure they want us back. I've talked to them. They were happy. We just killed it at the bar afterwards. The after party was awesome. But they have 3 sheets of ice there, and I had to turn probably 15 to 20 goalies away because I didn't have enough spaces for them. And I have an email list of over 120 goalies that want to participate. So I need, if I want to do 3 games or have to do like a tournament weekend style type thing, maybe make real teams with these guys.
Wow. It's amazing when a great idea takes off beyond your wildest imagination.
Yeah, we originally just wanted to party and play hockey together, and now it's something I just have to do at this point.
I know there's so many different ways this thing can go. And I mean, you had stands full of people at KCI, so people are eating this up.
I just couldn't believe how loud the crowd was and invested the game was. And both scorekeepers and the DJ afterward told me that the oohs and ahs were just awesome and just so invested in the game. And the DJ was also the same DJ from the Pride event. And he said that the vibes it felt very similar, just tons of excitement in there. So it means a lot to me how much people love the event.
Don't be surprised if a certain cereal company doesn't solicit you soon to come sponsor this thing.
Hey, I hope they do. It's my favorite cereal. So that's my friend had made a joke calling the original event Oops All Goalies, and it happened to be my favorite cereal anyway, and we just ran with it, and the jerseys are fantastic.
Kyle Sorenson, the mastermind behind Oops All Goalies. So far we've had 1.0 and 2.0, and we'll be watching to see what comes next. Thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome. I appreciate talking to you. Thank you.